Back in the early 90s, life was once complicated. Jane had her addiction. Alice was in chains. The Femmes were violent. Our pilots were in a stone temple, for Pete's sake. We were coming of age. The even flow of first loves, teenage angst, maybe even politics led to early 20s life choices. What a time to be alive. Sometimes you looked for a machine to rage against. Or maybe you wanted to just smash some pumpkins. Why go try to keep up with the Smiths? For some, even garbage could bring them joy. A kid named Jeremy spoke in class today. Looking back, it's all a blur. But I loved it all. Music was my safe place. The sound was coming from oceans away, or at least Seattle felt like that. But FM radio brought it right to my front porch. I was a radio head. I wanted more. I was on the search for a Soundgarden, a Nirvana, if you will. Listeners, you already know. We're talking about 1990s alternative music. I'm hoping we get some deep cuts to make it through here on the podcast today. Guys, I've been looking forward to releasing this topic and talking about it. Let's get right on into it. You guys ready?
Well done, my man. Fantastic.
Kudos. 10. I give it a 10.
I'll take it.
Yeah, the Pearl Jam 10.
Well played on the Pearl Jam 10.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Didn't know if anybody was going to catch it. I was like, will we go through every song, roll through, and knock it out?
That was great, man.
That was.
I can't wait to do this. We've been sitting on this one a while.
This has been percolating. We keep talking about it and throwing it out there.
This is Christmas morning for Neil Wilding.
It is.
I mean, this is right. Neil, this is, if there's ever a wheelhouse that is your wheelhouse, this is it.
Oh, my. Yeah. I feel a little pressure, like I got to deliver here.
All good, man. We're here to help. We're here to help.
Hey, if the 90s taught us anything, it's about 90s. This is mental health, buddy. We're all with you here. It's just, every song I looked up, I'm like, they were talking about some serious, deep stuff. Everyone that I've thought about choosing. So yeah. you got friends, man. You got friends. We're good. Does anybody want to say anything before we jump in? I've got, I know what our thought is here. We're going to go around and do 3 songs each to add to our playlist. My thought is to just kind of first, let's talk a little bit about, our feeling about music at the time, going to concerts, going to shows. Where are you getting your music from? That type thing. Neil, you want to kick us off?
Well, I feel like, I was a junior in high school when the 90s rolled around. So that was prime learning about new music time for me. And I just remember walking into like a record store and just blindly just like, you know what, that cover looks cool. Let's give that one a shot. And I was talking about this with Mike Ragonis just yesterday, actually. I kind of teased what we were going to be talking about today. And he said there was no greater time when you got a nice choice from the gal behind the counter when you bought a tape or a CD. We're like, oh yeah, I got one here. So,
what was the music place of choice where you were shopping? Were you at the mall? Were you at some cool like Ear Ecstasy? Were you
I thought I was cool.
Local vinyl dive. Yeah.
I feel like there's a place called NRM, which is a place in the mall.
That's right. That's
what I remember going to.
I feel like the 90s was before like the cool vinyl dive.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was that's when CDs were just kind of taking off, right?
Yeah.
It was pre iPod and certainly iPhone.
Yeah, it was. I still had I think I bought Pearl Jam 10 on tape.
I did too.
Yeah. And then when the CDs came out, it was kind of a challenge because they weren't portable at the time. So we're like, all right, I'm going to have to buy the CD so I can listen to it at home at the highest quality, but then tape it so that I could take it with me in the car. It was.
Oh, you didn't.
And you also had the dub tapes.
Yeah.
No, you didn't have the. I had the little arm that attached under my chair and it bounced and it held my Walkman disc player. and then it had the little headphone jack that took the tape and you put it in your tape deck.
Yes.
So I could play my
that
CD
was
on
later
next level.
technology. That came later, but yeah.
That was senior year. I'm a couple years older than you, so
that's how you knew you made it, Craig, when you had all the accessories.
Balling. That was just balling.
Yeah. And then, but then of course it would skip, and you're like, of course it's skipping. It's a freaking disc spinning around. Oh man, yeah, it was good times. And also, like, I mean, back then MTV played videos. So you talk about where you found stuff, like, what did they call it? The Alternative Nation, right? And they put the little Nation. And they put the little tag next to it, and that meant it was going to be a banger.
It was certified.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's all true.
I don't think that word was around back then. Banger wasn't being used when this music came out. So whatever.
It was a jam. I know it was a jam.
Yeah. Jam. There you go. Whoa, jam. Nice. Well, Neil, kick us off, man. We're going to pick 3 songs each. These don't have to be the best 3 songs. These are your 3 that you want to add to the mix, to our mixtape, I guess, if we're going to go 90s noises here. But anyway, what you got for us?
I've got 3 of my favorite songs of all time selected here. I'll start with one that I feel like just fits the era. And I'm going to go from an album that was released by the Smashing Pumpkins. Siamese Dream is the name of the album. Now, there's a ton of great songs on that. I remember seeing them live in Louisville Gardens. Great show. But the song I'm going to add is Mayonnaise.
Shout out Todd. Yeah, shout out Todd Patterson. We won't bring up that concert, but we'll just move on. Sorry, my bad.
Todd Patterson. He saw some of the show.
He saw some. So did I. I saw some of the show. So did a few of us others. But we'll move on. Sorry, didn't mean to. Yeah. Mayonnaise is a great song. Let's just go back to your song.
Yeah,
nice catch, Patty.
Well, and in fact, like nice catch, Patty. Callback. Patterson and I actually, like, that song was kind of our anthem. Like, we would jam that thing at Teak. And I feel like, Billy Corgan is like the king of like cheesy lyrics that sound like the most important thing in the world when he sings them. I mean, and I feel like this song is the epitome of that. I think it's a great song. And I used to love the lyrics, and then I think I'm gonna listen to them now. I'm like, well, okay, a little cheesy, but that's but Mayonnaise is what's going on the playlist from Siamese Dream.
I'm excited you brought up that one, because I had that one listed, and that was like number 3rd, number 4th on my list. And then later, as the week went on, I spent this week just kind of diving into an old 90s playlist and then going through stuff. But that was high on my number, and then it got moved out, because I'm like, oh no, I'm going to switch up to this song, which I'll do mine later on. But man, that is an amazing song, and that was a great concert for the majority of the time that I saw it.
Yeah, he was good. And it's it's funny, a little fun fact on the Smashing Pumpkins. You think about like that they were named after like smashing the pumpkins, but it's actually an adjective. It's like the Great Pumpkins. The British adjective is what he was going for with that. Little fun fact.
The late night guy that brings the thing to Charlie Brown, the Great Pumpkin,
like the Great Pumpkins, like the whatever. It's smashing, like
the Amazing Pumpkins.
The Amazing Pumpkins, right? Like they're smashing, as in.
Please do the British accent again.
Hello, Governor.
You'll have to listen live on the
Cheerio.
That one. That's right.
Hey, that's an absolute banger, though, man. Great way to start this.
Great
off.
Song, great album, great band, and they're still out there. They're still out there putting it out.
I hate to be the outside guy here. I don't know that I know the song. I don't know it by title.
Shot in the mouth and strike the demons, cursed you and your reasons. Like I just want to be me. Anyway, it's you would probably recognize it if you heard it. It was not one of the radio songs.
I recognized it from you singing it.
Yeah, that opening guitar, man.
Fucking rocks.
Yeah, it's like a minute and a half before the
It is. Yeah, here, listen.
Punches you in the face.
It really does. What a great song.
All right.
What a great song.
Really
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped. That's going to offset at least three Third Eye Blind songs. It's going to be great.
Shout out Third Eye Blind. No
Right.
hate there. No hate.
No, they're good. They're good.
But I've spent enough time talking about those guys.
Hey, they're good. They're good.
So now, if I'm going to let you guys get your picks in, I should probably go on to my next one. So the next one I want to talk about is like my number one desert album, desert island album. And that is Counting Crows, August and Everything After. I think that one is like the best album. Hell, I talked about Mike. He named his first kid after that album.
And Counting Crow?
He named his kid August.
Just count.
But for me, and there's a ton of songs on, I mean, there are no skips on that album whatsoever. But my favorite song, and this might be my favorite song of all time, is the opening song from that album, Round Here. It's got the opening guitar riff is just like when I hear that play, I just know that it's like the start of a great album. And then the opening line, like the opening lyrics, step out the front door like a ghost into the fog, like that. I just know like we're heading for greatness. And I thought I would use this to talk about Counting Crows a little bit, because they're a bit of a Counting Crows live. Have any of y'all seen Counting Crows live?
I have.
Yep. I think there was an ongoing feud between Sherman and I back in the day, Counting Crows versus Lenny Kravitz, if I remember correctly. Which one was the better band to see open up for the Rolling Stones, if I remember correctly? Yeah, there was a short couple of years we used to argue about that. But go ahead.
Well, if you are show up and play the hits note for note exactly like the album guy, then you probably don't like Counting Crows live. But I think they're one of the best live bands out there. And Round Here, they have they put out a live album called Across a Wire, and like one of them was an acoustic, and then the other one is plugged in. And there are two different versions of Round Here on that, and they're like almost two different songs. The first one is super mellow; it's just Adam and Dave, and it is just him singing over the guitar. And it's like this beautiful, slow song. And then there's like a 10-minute version on the other one that's plugged in and jams. And he gets like 6 minutes into it, and he mixes in lyrics from other songs. And just kind of, I think Counting Crows is a band everybody should see live. It's phenomenal. And
Adam Durit's voice is like, I mean, butter. The dude is amazing. He's like, I mean, he is just, he's just a great songwriter too. Like you said, the lyrics that just kind of kick in on Round Here. But yeah, they're really good in concert. I love a jam band though. I like bands that can kind of go. Obviously Pearl Jam being my favorite band. Yeah. So I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, wasn't he? Who's our guy? Who's the Pirates of the Caribbean? Wasn't he discovered by him at the Viper Room and
Johnny
Hollywood?
Depp.
Johnny Depp's like the one who basically was because he was a bartender at the Viper Room, and I think I'm saying the bar right. I think I'm saying the right name, but
Viper Room is the right bar.
Yeah, and he was the bartender there, and then Johnny Depp's the one who kind of discovered him and kind of funded him to get started.
And they actually just put a new album out. Like they're still making great music.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I've seen them live. They're awesome.
You never heard of?
How does the new album rank on Neil Wilding's 2025 list?
I would say it's a top 10. And that is not because I've only listened to 10 new albums. I mean, it's really good. And they did like an EP a couple years ago, 3 or 4, it was like 4 songs. And then this one, he went back in the studio and recorded another 4 or 5 songs. And it's good. I got it on vinyl. I got the first part of it on vinyl. It's good stuff. Shaved his dreads and still kept the magic, so he's doing okay.
I think our listeners know that you listen to more than 10 albums.
This is true.
Probably more than 10 albums this week. But
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, let me just do one more song, and then I'll love to hear what you all say. The last one is a band that Sherman mentioned very early on in his intro, and that's Alice in Chains. And I'm not going with their heavy stuff. I think their best album is an EP, Jar of Flies, and that's an album that I bought when it came out, and I don't think I realized how great it was until like when I was an adult and really started listening to what he was going through. The song I chose is Don't Follow. And that song is a beautiful and tragic song. I mean, it's like the lyrics, he's like leaving and he's saying, listen, I know what's best. I'm leaving. Don't follow me. And I know, and I'm leaving you basically because I love you. I'm leaving you behind. And but I love that song, not just because of the lyrics, but also Jerry Cantrell sings the first part of it. And as he sings the song, it's like almost singing those lyrics like with relief, like he's like releasing a burden that he wasn't bringing, this person with him into what he's going through. And then like halfway through the song, there's like this tonal change. And you can tell it's going to get dark and bring in more instrumentation. And that's when Lane Staley kicks in. And that's where you just feel the pain of this song. And he just raps it, the last 4 words, say goodbye, don't follow. And it is an incredible, incredible song. And it's a perfect fit from that entire EP is so good.
Yeah, proud dad moment. And that album, top to bottom, is freaking incredible. They've got just a great catalog of music, but that album, top to bottom, is incredible. But proud dad moment. I walk into Will's room. I don't know, a month or so ago. My youngest boy. I walk in, and him and his buddies are sitting on there playing video games and rocking to Jar of Flies, and I'm like, oh, so proud of you boys. They're like, dude, this album's great. I'm like, oh, I'm just glad y'all know.
You tell them listen, but don't follow.
Yeah.
That is a proud dad moment, man. You're like, I did something right here.
Yeah,
it's all gonna be all right.
Listening to good music.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah,
Cotton, you want to take us next?
Yeah. I spent time this week traveling to and fro on the job and rocking out with our assignment here. And so my first two were combo of great songs / I saw in concert or saw live. So my first one is Tool from the Undertow album Sober. That song just, man, that opening just fucking, it goes straight into just rocking. And that was also a show that I got to see with my man Sherm, Vez, and was Nick our fourth that night? What, Nick?
He was.
Nick, shout out Nick Brown. He was with us that night at the So yeah, Tool was always my we're listening to some live cover band at one of the bars here in Louisville back in the day. We if I could get them to play Tool back then, that was the jam. So Sober by Tool. I'm pumped to get to add all these songs we've had thrown out so far.
Yeah, great song.
That is that song. Actually, that whole album is like a workout album for me. Like if I'm doing anything and I would just want to like stay pumped up and go. Tool, a little bit of Deftones, I'm done. So I'll stay on the treadmill. I'll do whatever I got to do, man. Run through a brick wall. It's happening.
Did you stay with them through the other bands that he did? The Perfect Circle and Pussifer and all that?
Yeah. Perfect Circle. I've not seen any of the other bands. I've seen Tool twice and 3 times. And I'll see a Perfect Circle. They're coming to Louder Than Life.
Oh, that's right.
In September. So I'll see them there. And they're playing Deftones. They played the same night as Deftones on Saturday night. So I'm hoping that they play Passenger, the song that Maynard sings with Deftones on. So that'll be awesome.
Very good.
Yeah, that's
I think
jam.
I think doesn't he make wine now? I think he lives on a vineyard and
yeah, waiting for California to just fall off. I mean, I don't know how that's going to happen. How you sing a song about that and then not
Right.
And then disses all of California, and then still tells them to learn to swim. I mean, anyway.
Oh yeah.
Tangential.
Yeah. Great choice.
Thank you. Well, on number 2, which was I got to do back-to-back nights. So to give you the difference in nights, the first night we went to go to the Palace here in Louisville. Great venue, beautiful architecture, just gorgeous place. If you've never been to the Palace, of any of our listeners, but what a beautiful venue to see a band. But the first night I got to see Alison Krauss, so it's bluegrass and country and all that. And then the next night I got to see Stone Temple Pilots. So to get to see the difference between the two back-to-back nights was a lot of fun. But STP, and then my song was Plush. And I'm gonna put the acoustic version on there, and that is also in my top like 5 karaoke songs. So you want to hear Cotton sing some karaoke, put Plush on. That's one of my go-tos, man. That's a great song, and they've got a great catalog also. So STP Plush, that's my second song.
I've recently gone back and listened to all their catalog. Like that first album is the one that it was great, and then they got a little artistic, and the next few. That Purple album, I think they just had the 25-year maybe anniversary of that. Sounds right. I was reading about that. They said that's named Purple because it was named after Prince. They really looked up to him, and that's why that album's called Purple. Yeah. All right. Love me some STP.
All right.
Saw them a couple times, and that they are still to this, I guess now it's not the same, but not without the lead singer, not without Scott, but it is still one of my favorite shows. I mean, just the energy that came out.
Yeah, they were at Louder in Life 2 years ago, weren't they? They were right before Chili Peppers.
That's right.
It was ST. Yeah. That was a fun lineup that night. It was kind of a diversified. I think it was Jelly Roll and then STP and then Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that was a fun night. But hell yeah, they still sounded great. They rocked it out.
Yeah.
How is the new lead? I haven't heard about the new lead singer. Is he strong? Is he good?
He's good. I mean, it's not the same, but he's good. Yeah. He's really good. He's really good. But anytime it's somebody different, doesn't matter what it is, just a different feel, even if they're singing the same song and band sounds the same, everything to me.
So I happened to catch, actually Mike Ragonis, shout out to Mike again. He and I were in Philadelphia and just happened to catch them super early. Like Stone Temple Pilots was just starting to pop off, and they were opening up for the Butthole Surfers.
Wow.
Okay.
So, and you know who else was with them? Who was opening up for like the first act was the Flaming Lips, who went on to be a massive band, and then STP, and then the Butthole Surfers at the Man in Philadelphia. It was an awesome show, and actually, I had heard of the Butthole Surfers. Kick-ass show, really good band.
It's awesome.
Oh, hell yeah, that's a great lineup.
It is a great lineup.
Well,
who you got third?
My third song. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm getting a 2 for 1 out of this one because I've seen it live, but not live with the original. So my third song is "In Bloom" by Nirvana. We're going to have some Nirvana in here, and but due to my issues with Sturgill, I did get to see Sturgill live, and he got to see him sing "In Bloom" from his album "A Sailor's Guide to Paradise." So the difference in those two albums, or difference in those two different versions of that song, are incredible, and they're both fantastic. So you knew we had to have some Kurt Cobain in there. So Kurt started it off, and then later I got to see Sturgill do his cover. So incredible.
Also at the Palace.
I
believe I was sitting right next to you during that show.
I know it. That was man. That is still my number one concert I've ever been to. I've never run to the back. I still, anytime he tells me what was your favorite show, that is my favorite concert I've ever been to. It was unbelievable that night. But yep.
Not to veer off too much, but what makes a great show? We've talked about what makes a great movie, what makes this, why is the thing, what is the feeling what is all goes into it being a great show, Craig?
That I don't know. And that particular show, he played the whole album front to back. Sailor's Guide to Paradise. I mean, I've seen a lot of great shows, and I've been to a crap ton of concerts. Mm-hmm. So, I do prefer an indoor concert so that you can hear the song, hear the music. I love a music festival, but I don't feel like I think you're more in the party scene and the crowd and the energy of the crowd than hearing the music. I do like a smaller venue that has and the Palace acoustics are incredible. So getting to have good acoustics, getting to have, hear the sound, I don't know if there's getting where the crowd is into it as well, but you're not sitting next to the people that are just talking through the whole show. You get to, everybody was zoned out into that show. It was incredible. I've never run to the bathroom like I was trying to hold it, and I was running because I just wanted to get back so fast because I was upset that I was going to miss any part of that one. So, but I've been to a bunch of good music, but good concerts, but that one's still my number one. It hadn't been topped yet.
Yeah, I think the feeling and the vibe has just as much. If the set list is one thing, and the artist has to be on that night, whoever it is, they got to be on. Mm-hmm. But it's the vibe of the crowd and where everybody is, and probably the people you're right around, because you're really not going to hear anybody more than 10. I would think more than like 10 mm-hmm. people away from you. So it's kind of like who's right in your area. And to your point, people talking or doing whatever, man. It's like, shut up and listen, man.
Yeah,
that's what you're here for.
I'm with you. I do think it's the people you're with, right? So like that adds to the experience. But not that it turns into a karaoke event, right? Like at some point you're going to sing along with the band. But to your point, if you got somebody behind it that's just chatty Cathy or just like singing 10 octaves way off key, it's just miserable. Miserable.
So if they're singing good, you're fine with them, duetting.
No, not that either. Not that either. At the right time.
Hey,
I'm okay with
people, listeners, just tell the people to calm down. And if you're one of the people, if you don't know anybody else around you that's singing, it's probably you. So
that's
just,
right.
That's right.
Stop it. Just stop it. All right, Red, what you got?
All right. So my choices, so I got 3 because that was the assignment. So my first one, I'm going to go back to college. And we had a fraternity brother, Casey Hayden. Shout out to Kenny Chuck. And back at school, right, bars in Louisville were open to 4, so you kind of hung out until 10:30 or 11, got ready to go, and you went out to the bars about 11 o'clock. But there was we're hanging out in his dorm room. The guitar starts, and he's kind of dancing around a little bit, and then he does this thing that we labeled the Casey Kick. And that's stuck with us to this day. So I don't know, what is that, 30 years ago? But Sherman, you could probably help me out with this a little bit. If I said, I am still dreaming of your face. To this day, still cracks me up. So I've got to go Everclear, a little Santa Monica. It just makes me smile when I hear it on the radio. Takes me back in time. Great song, but again, hanging out with good people and making something out of nothing.
I knew you were going to pick that one.
Did you?
I did. Yeah. And when you text about it, you got to text the face in all caps. Like it's
you got to bring it home, right? Maybe a little authority.
That's right. That is right.
Yeah. So my next song, I'm going to go, I think a couple episodes or last episode, I don't know, maybe a lot of episodes, we talk about working in captain's quarters. And I don't know if it was 94, 95, but for whatever rhyme or reason, this song still just kind of takes me back in time. Craig, you've referenced STP, and I think I was at that concert with you at the Palace. I don't know if I was with you, maybe Todd Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Were we all together?
No, we had Vez, Robbie, Jones. I've got a great story about Jones. Like the moment, because we got there early, and I'm up against the bar. There's nobody there, and then right before the show comes on, the place is packed. Place is just wall to wall people trying to get in, and we're bellied up to the bar like we own the place. Everybody else is standing in line getting drinks and then getting out the way. And all of a sudden, I start catching on that like we're the only ones bellied up to the bar, and people are making rumbles like you need to get the F out the way. Like we're trying to get our ticket, but and the bartender's backing us up. She's like, nope, they've been here all day. They're not moving. And Jones comes walking up, and he's like, what's going on, dog? And this couple behind me like, these people won't move out of our way. And they're like, they're just sitting there at the bar. And he's like, and you've been standing here the whole time behind them? Yeah. And they won't get out of the way? Yeah. And he's like, dumbass. And he steps over and he grabs his drink and just takes a big sip and steps back up to the bar next to me. And I'm like, grr! I'm like, what now? What now, punk? Oh, so it was a feel good moment that I appreciate him backing me up on when we were sitting there. But yes, great show. I think there was like 6 or 8 of us that night.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go STP, and I'm gonna go second album, which I did not realize was named after Prince. I'm gonna go Interstate Love Song.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Love the guitar, love the vocals. My carpool karaoke skills are on point whenever I play that song. You may not think so if you're riding shotgun, but when I ride solo, I am rocking it out.
Money.
Yeah. I don't even know it. I don't even know how money I am.
You are.
All right.
The people next to you know.
They can hear.
The people driving. No, the people driving, looking over at you, just busting, just cranking it out, dude. They can see. They know.
Windows up, windows down. It doesn't matter. They can hear it. They can feel it.
Yeah, they know it.
Channeling my inner Scott to them for sure.
I love it.
Right.
I love that is a banger as well. I don't know what words we're using. Jam. That is
Jam.
That is it. That is a great song.
And then my third song, I want to say maybe around the same time frame. And they've got a shit ton of great songs. And I don't know what album this was off of. If it was their debut album, Neil, you could probably rope this in for me. You probably give it the Michelin rating based upon the Neil Wilding scale. But I'm going to go a little bit of Green Day and a little bit of When I Come Around.
All right.
From Dookie.
Yeah.
Dookie.
Is that the debut album?
No, they had a couple of albums before they got popular, before they got big. But that's the first album that most people heard.
All right.
Yeah, that was the first one where they had like videos and stuff, right? Like maybe it's signed to a new label. I don't know if I'm right about that, but they actually had a push behind it, and it's the one that blew up.
Yeah.
Also a jam though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that whole album.
Yeah, it is.
Takes me back in time.
I think Green Day, I don't know if it was this song, but I picture them at the what was the big festival where it rained, and I picture like kids in shopping carts going down the hill, jamming to Green Day. I feel like it was like Woodstock '94, wasn't it? I think it was Woodstock '94. And there were, anyway.
I think you're right on that. I think I was trying to picture, because there was also the Woodstock 99 or whatever, where
that was
riot.
The disaster. Yeah, that was the disaster.
Riot. Yeah. But I think you're right. 94 was the rain and everything.
Anybody ever seen them? Everybody ever seen them live in concert? I'd like to see them, and they're still out there.
No,
kicking it. I love.
I did. I saw them last year at Louder Than Life.
That's the first band brought up on this that I have not seen live.
That I have not seen.
But I'm a fan.
I think they're a little bit Benjamin Buttonish. I feel like they look like they're getting younger as they progress in age.
Benjamin Buttonish. He still does look young, doesn't he? Doesn't his boy play guitar with him now or something like that? Or
I don't know.
Jump in. I think he's the son. Maybe he's like a bassist or something like that. Not full time in the band, but and I could be totally wrong there. But that's one that
brings people in. He brings people in to play. Like he'll bring somebody up from the crowd. If somebody holds up a sign they can play whatever, he'll bring them up. Or if they say they can sing it, like they're just doing whatever.
Red,
That's
give me
interesting.
give me that first band. What was your first one? I was listening, but I didn't hear you. I was like White Man Can't Jump.
Everclear.
I can hear you.
Everclear.
Is that like
I can,
Jimmy?
Everclear.
Is that like
Yeah,
Jimmy Hendrix? You can hear
I can-
Jimmy, but you can't.
I can hear Jimmy, but
You listen.
you ain't listening to Jimmy, right? Everclear. All right. I got.
All right, Sherm, bring us home, man.
I'm going to go with two bands that were not mentioned, but I'm going to start with the one that was mentioned because I think when I think of Seattle and I think 90s, just the music in general that came out at that time, you got to have Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
I got All Apologies, 1993. I was graduating high school. It was the moment of, just kind of everything going on there. But that song is just, a little bit on the, for Nirvana and for that time, I guess, a little bit slower. Not, nothing. It's not crazy. It's not a love ballad by any stretch, but a little bit of a love, a little bit of a lull and slow and, just jam, and goes back to the, what we were talking about, just being misunderstood, things along those lines, just kind of where Kurt Cobain was at the time. And just, anyway.
And that live album, the Unplugged from New York, is one of the best of ever put.
Absolutely.
Best live albums ever, man. So good.
Have you all seen old Davey Grohl talk about his drums from the Nirvana days, how he stole from the Gap Band?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is an amazing. I never picked up on it until he talked about it, though.
But when he says it, like, that's all you can hear.
Now it's all I hear.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The entire time listening to some of those guys talk about where they got riffs from, or a song that they just basically stole something, or they were feeling whatever, and then they just ran with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Kurt, like those songs that Nirvana put out, those are not. Like they're trying to be the Beatles. They're not trying to be like Led Zeppelin and hard. Like they're trying to be the Beatles, and you can see it in the art, when you dissect those songs.
Have you done the Dave Grohl documentary, Sound City? That documentary is incredible, and it's about when Nirvana goes into the studio to record their first album, and Sound City's the old recording studio out in California. It's got like historical people that have all played through this thing, but it's a dump. It's like the biggest hole in the wall dump building. But what it did have was this Nev 8028 analog mixing console that has like the most turning dials, buttons. They brought it from Germany or somewhere and brought it over and hooked it up in this place. So the building itself was a dump, but the recording products that they used were incredible. And so, at that time, we're coming out of the 80s, and it's all this digital age, and everything's being manufactured in a
drum
computer.
machines.
Drum machines and manufactured. And then Nirvana comes out and puts out this album, and it's like the first real music that it got to come back out in forever. And if you haven't seen that documentary, Sound City, it is incredible. It is so much fun to watch. They're like limping along with Rick Springfield. That was their biggest artist they had in there at the time. And no, we're not mad at Jesse's girl, but But then Nirvana comes in there. Yeah, but Nirvana comes in there and just blows it out, and like everybody flips out. And so you have all this turn of these people like, hey, I want to get in the studio and how do I make that sound? And so they start going to Sound City, and then Dave Grohl ends up, when they finally shut this place down, Dave Grohl buys that Nev 8028 mixing board, and now he disassembled this thing and moved it, and it's in his house, and that's what he has in his recording studio.
Well, our next episode, I expect Neil to give us a 30-minute lesson on how 8028 Dev plays with drop D tuning.
Drop D tuning.
I need to know exactly how that all fit, and what detail. I want detail. I think the listeners are wanting this.
Sherm, I don't know what your next two are, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be this one, but I've got to ask the question. So speaking of Nirvana, was Hole that good, or was it the association with Nirvana that made him popular?
I'm going to say it was the association.
Yeah.
I think that Courtney Love being a character, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but just so much charisma and just saying whatever came to the top of her head, dissing people, all the above. Before you even had social media, we're picking up on things she said, that are just one-offs.
Yeah.
That's that big, and I think that was part of it.
Yeah, you know who would disagree would be one Jason Corfage.
Absolutely,
He rides
we
hard
disagreed on that.
hole.
He and I, when we lived together, he beat me up on that one all the time. But also he's the one that introduced me to Smiths and Morrissey. So his music knowledge, I give him credit all the time. You can disagree on things. That's all right.
He's a legendary arguer too. So yeah, I don't even know if he agrees with his statements. He just prefers to be an argument.
He missed a calling as an attorney for sure. That dude could take both sides of whatever he wanted to do.
He's arguing. He's making an argument.
That's it. Next up on my list is a band that I luckily got to see 2014-ish. I was really late to them. As big as they are, I was late to them. Maybe 98, 2000, somewhere in there. I knew who they were, but didn't really get into them. And that's Soundgarden.
Oh yeah.
The song is Outshined.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is, buddy. But again, I came to them really late, and it is, just I'm not gonna. Well, I am gonna sing it. Look in California. As soon as it kicks in, I'm like, yeah I am, and I am feeling Minnesota.
Heck yeah.
It is. It is. I mean, it is just the feeling of that and the way it goes. Because it's the
if you want to feel drop D tuning, that's all.
That's exactly right. Was that at Sound City? Did they do? Did we already done? We did our whole episode right there.
I don't know.
But no, that is one of my favorite songs, and I think it just captures the 90s alternative. It is.
I am so glad that we didn't miss that band because I was going to be upset if we went through this episode and didn't get to talk about them because they're so crucial to the scene.
And I thought my next one is the one I thought you were going to be excited about. But
I know that. I know what's coming with your.
You don't know what's coming.
The fucking chops on Chris Cornell.
Oh,
holy shit!
Chris Cornell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to tie a Soundgarden story back to Captain's Quarters, making it all tangential. So I don't know if the second or third album, Spoon Man was on there. Third album. So
actually more than that. But anyway, go ahead.
So our boy Kenny Chuck, Casey Hayden again, we were all working at Cap's quarters, and Spoon Man was playing. He took all the spoons out of the expo station, and he put on a Spoon Man exhibition like he was on stage, ready to open for Soundgarden. It was impressive. It was like nothing I've ever seen.
So Spoon Man, a real person in Seattle. He wrote a song about him and was the name of a song in the singles.
He was a real person in our fraternity. His name was Casey Hayden.
That's right. That's right. Well, apparently he lived in Seattle at one point. We just didn't know that. Something he's never told us. So Neil, you said something that I'm gonna bring up. I did not put Pearl Jam in my three that I'm putting on the list.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to talk about them after that.
It was too easy for you. Too easy.
It is too easy, and I do have a Pearl Jam song on the playlist already with Elderly Woman, but not on. As I went through, I started there. I started with how do I get into this and put this on the playlist and go along with it. And when I came up with these three songs, I kept thinking, these are three of my absolute favorites that are not on, it's not my Pearl Jam world and where I'm at all the time. And most of the, it's what I listen to the most. The third album, and all three of these lead singers are gone. But the third album, third song was from a group that the singer left way too soon, Shannon Hoon with Blind Melon, and the song is Tones of Home. So No Rain was the big single. That was the one that put them on the map. That is the that song is absolutely banger. But Tones of Home for me captures the moment of the early '90s, and just kind of all the above of what we talked about before. But like just the feeling of connection and misunderstanding, back to mental health aspect of it. I mean, the entire thing. That's what he's looking for in that song, and it's just a deep, deep song, and absolutely love it. If you're not familiar,
it's a great song. I love it. I'm with you.
That's on the same album with Rain. Yeah,
Yeah.
with the bumblebee on the front.
Yeah, and it did have, I believe it did have a video, but it was not the
it wasn't B-girl.
It wasn't the B girl. It wasn't B girl. It wasn't her dancing. So and it didn't. That's exactly right. We had to get Pearl Jam in here. See what we did.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize I was doing that at the time. I didn't, because No Rain was that song. But anyway, yeah.
So I purposely laid off on putting any Pearl Jam just because like, well, I can't do that. That's my boys. Sure. But obviously great songs. You did wonderful selections. I was like, okay, here we go. It's Pearl Jam time.
Pearl Jam Black. I had it. It literally was the first thing I wrote down was Pearl Jam Black, and I'm like, it's going to come up at another time. I'm be fine. It's going to get on the playlist. It'll be.
So I was good, talking Pearl Jam. Just I came across this live album.
Now we are.
Yeah, we got it.
I got to do it.
You
And so I heard somebody talk about this live. And the cool thing about Pearl Jam is every concert they've done is out there to listen to. There's a concert that they did from December 8th of 1993. And it was when they returned back to Seattle. And it's the only time, I think, that they played the Mama Son trilogy start to finish. And the Mama Son trilogy is Alive, Once, and then Footsteps. Yeah, and it is go, like, we don't have to put this on the playlist, but just go listen to those three songs. And he starts it off and he says, hey, we're going to mess around a little bit here. We're coming back to Seattle. This is a place to do it. And he plays those songs. And when you hear those three songs live, kind of playing into each other, you hear the whole opera that's what he calls it, his opera, his Nutcracker or whatever. And it is a very cool experience listening to those three things. Actually, I cut those three, like I just put a playlist of those three songs to play them together because it's so cool.
Apparently at that tape that exists with the Mama Son on it, when he sent it back, exists. And I don't know where it is, but it's like a place in Seattle that you can go and see, the whole story behind all of that, of kind of coming in and how Vedder got with the band as they were, just trying to figure out what they were going to do next.
Yeah. What are you guys saying? Mama's son?
Mama's son. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
It's as he tells it, it's like the story of like a child victim, and that's the story of Alive. Some bad things happen to this kid, and then this kid then grows up to be a killer, and he goes on a killing spree, and that's the song of Once, and then Footsteps is him reflecting in jail on what happened. It's really it's crazy.
Hey, so when did 10 come out? Like 91?
91.
Yeah, so I'm in Houston down there. Unfortunately, I'm down there. My grandmother's passing away, so not to bring it down, but that's why I'm down there in Houston. I've got a friend of mine, my longest friend in the history of the world, Miles, and I go visit him in Houston, and it's the album's out, but like he's like, hey, Pearl Jam's playing tonight, $15 at this converted grocery store, and at the time it hadn't hit. Like, at least in my world, my personal world, it hadn't hit me yet. No clue. I'm like, who? Toe Jam? I'm like, nah, man, I'm down here for family stuff. I can't pull away for that. And it was like the following week I get home and the whole world's like, blah, 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 10s blowing up everywhere. And I'm like, mother shit, So I've seen them in concert since, but here I was, could have seen them in this like tiny grocery store in Houston, right.
Well, how about this? I did catch this one Also with Mike Ragonis, third reference on the show, Mike. Lollapalooza. Think about this lineup from 1992. We saw them at Riverbend in Cincinnati.
Wasn't
Pearl
that
Jam.
show?
No, we went to a show later. We went to like 94.
Beastie Boys. Yeah.
Lollapalooza. Pearl Jam came on second. They played at like 1 in the afternoon. And you know who came on after them? Ice Cube, Jesus and Mary Chain, Soundgarden, and Red Hot Chili Peppers headlined the thing. What an amazing show.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I got to give a shout out to Nick Brown because all I was listening to was just straight hip hop in 91. That's all I was listening to. And out of nowhere, my little brother, 14 at the time, comes in and is like, hey, I got something I think you'll like. I'm all right, cool. Hands me his tape. And I think in my mind, it's a mixtape. I don't even, or a tape that he had dubbed over or whatever. But we throw it in and I'm just, absolutely been enthralled ever since. Fell in love right at the moment I heard it, and it just never stopped. So for me, anyway, shout out Nick Brown.
What's your Pearl Jam count at right now? Are you
15?
15.
Seen them 15 times. Most of that has come in the last few years, 5-6 years, because now I actually have money and can go do stuff. But saw him in 97. I think I saw him twice in maybe 96. But I saw him in Milwaukee at their festival. I think it was called Festival in the Park, with some teaks. There were some folks there. Corfage was with me, I think.
Have you ever seen Pearl Jam followed up by DJ Jazzy Jeff, though?
I have seen that. 2012, the Luna Fest, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And
that was a blast of a night. That was so much
and DJ
fun.
Jazzy Jeff broke into some Nirvana.
But he crushed.
Dude,
that was so much.
He knew who was there. He knew who he was playing to. It was on. Anyway, guys, hey, this has been amazing. This is a great. I feel like just this is right, Neil. I think we talked about you having it was right up your alley. I think all of us. This is music that we were all rolling with here at that time, and appreciate it. This is a good one,
man. It was a great walk through memory lane. Great excuse to keep listening to this music too.
I think we have to wrap up the podcast and then give Neil another 30 minutes, 40 minutes just to talk about what we talked about.
Whew. I got 3 pages of like backup stuff we could have talked about.
No doubt.
Hey guys, thanks again. Appreciate it. For everybody else, we'll catch you guys next week.
Absolutely.
Later.
Be good.
Yeah, bud.